This is the 2025 Chevrolet Traverse LT. Do the features match the price? Hey everybody, it's Tom from Vehicle Visionary. I hope you're having a great day. Today we're at Red River Chevrolet and I'm going to give you the particulars on this Traverse LT with a Summit white exterior color and a jet black interior. If you want to know more, check out the link down in the description of the video. And if you haven't looked at the Traverse recently, it is fully redesigned for the 2025 model year, a little bit more squared off, but when you look at it, you still know you're looking at a Traverse based on the body lines. We're going to have our projector beam LED headlights and LED daytime running lights, as well as our turn signal indicators built in. And here on this model, cameras all over. You have the front camera right there, your forward-facing camera, cameras in the mirrors. Literally every angle you need to see from, you can. We're going to have our 18-inch wheels. You will also find a spare tire. That's always good news. Turn signal indicators built in to the power adjustable heated side view mirrors. And have your blind spot monitoring built in right there. The only thing that's missing is that these are not power folding, but you know what? You can manually fold those side view mirrors when you need to do something like that, depending on your parking situation. And here is your remote lock, unlock, remote start. You can open and close your power tailgate, and there's your panic button. I like that you have passive entry on the front door handle and on the rear. It's nice to have that both places. You can lock and unlock all four doors from either door on either side of the vehicle. Gonna have the roof rails up top. You can get some crossbars and increase your cargo capacity. And we finish things off here on the rear as far as the exterior goes with the, I'd say, tastefully done taillights. You can see that I have the turn signal indicator turned on right there. Just to show you how things look. The sun's starting to come out, so it's a little bit harder to see the brightness of the lights, but I guarantee you they're plenty bright when it's after dark. We'll also have our rear window wiper right here and our rear roof spoiler. That is actually a functional piece if you didn't know. It does look nice. It gives it a nice finishing look back here, but it also helps to channel air over this rear window when you're driving down the road. That helps keep the window clean, but obviously when you need it, you've got that rear window wiper and the shark fin antenna up top. And something else that I like back here, maybe I'm a little OCD, but I like that there are 4 exhaust tips, 2 on each side. Speaking of the exhaust tips, which by the way, let's see. Can you see? I hope so. They are actually connected to the exhaust Atlas. So they're not just sitting there without anything connected to them. I actually have people ask about that sometimes down in the comments section. But speaking of exhaust, what exactly is being exhausted? Let's open the hood and I'll tell you all about it. Under the hood is the turbocharged 2.5-liter 4-cylinder engine. It makes 328 horsepower and 326 pounds-feet of torque. That's all mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission. This model comes in front-wheel drive. All-wheel drive is available. How about your MPGs? Let's take a look at the window sticker. 20 city, 27 highway, 23 combined, and 4.3 gallons of gas per every 100 miles driven. You'll find a 19.4-gallon gas tank. In the city, you should be able to drive about 388 miles on a single tank of gas, and on the highway, 523 miles. Max towing capacity comes in at 5,000 pounds. But there is one thing here that you won't find with a lot of competitors, and that is one of the easiest ways to open the tailgate. See how those lights are flashing and hear the beeps? Now notice, I didn't even do anything. I didn't touch anything at all, and the power tailgate opens. So all you have to do is stand there and it will open. Now you might wonder, what happens if I walk by and I don't want it to open? Just keep walking. It will beep 1 or 2 times, but then it won't open as long as you don't just stand there like I just did. Now, as I mentioned to you earlier in the video, there is a spare tire here. You can see by the diagram on the underside of the floor back here in this rear section. There are all of the details as to where it's located and how to gain access to that underneath the floor right here. But I do like the space that's available for additional cargo space. You will also find some tie downs back here. That's going to come in nice and handy. Cargo capacity ranges between 22.9 to 97.6 cubic feet. And in the need of a power outlet, you do have a 12-volt outlet here in this rear section. Now you won't find a sunroof on this particular model. So for those of you who don't want a sunroof, just so you know, that is available. It's not a standard feature. Let's talk about what your second and third row passengers will find. Plenty of room with the armrest locations on the door panels right here, and plenty of room with the door bin. A common question is, do these seats recline? You can see that I had the seat over there on the driver's side. In a more conventional position, the seat over here on the passenger side is reclined all the way back. And you can move the seats back and forth. Again, on the driver's side, the seat is all the way forward, and the seat over here on the passenger side is all the way back. So you can give the third row passengers additional space. Now you will have to manually move the seats up and out of the way to gain access to the third row, but not a big deal. And we'll hop on back here and see how things. Now, here's the thing. This seat being reclined as it is and all the way back, there's not a lot of room right there, leg space wise, but that can be remedied. In this particular case, we're going to find a cup holder and a little bit of space back here as well. But let's talk about additional space. And you'll also find the USB port right there, by the way. So hopefully you can see that. But this is the situation as far as maximum leg space. Now this seat is all the way forward, and like I say, it's sitting up in a more of a conventional position as far as the seat back goes. Not too bad back here, a reasonable amount of space. And you'll also find the roof-mounted air conditioning vents, which I always prefer. One of the competitors of the Traverse is the Honda Pilot. Its air conditioning vents are located down here. So I think that's a good thing where that's concerned. It's closer to the passengers and easier to keep them comfortable during the winter, during the summer, whatever time of year it is. And there is a pass-through right here where they can your third row passengers can stretch their leg out if they want to, at least one, and they can get out and back here in and out through this area, or they can let themselves out if somebody forgets by simply pushing up on the lever on the release right there and moving the seat up and out of the way. For those who want a little more leg room, who are not sitting in the front seat, the second row passengers definitely have that. Now that's going to vary a little bit depending on where the front seats are located, but no matter what, it seems that it's a little bit better here in the second row than it is in the third row. Cup holders on the rear of the center console. We're going to have the command center, we'll call it. For the third zone of climate control, we have dual zone in the front, single zone in the rear. You can control fan speed and temperature back here. You can also plug in with USB and a power outlet right there, depending on what second row passengers need. Rear seat pockets help with additional storage. The only thing I wish was a little different back here is the length of the armrests. They're comfortable, but they're a little short for me personally. You can see where my arm winds up on there. That's the best for me. My wrist and my hand are still hanging off the end. I do wish they came out to about right here, but I know that's not going to be the case for everybody, but it is for me. Just as was the case with the third row, the second row passengers also have the roof-mounted air conditioning vents. And we'll find plenty of room once again with the armrest and the door bin on the front doors. But as far as your passenger seat goes, this is a four-way adjustable seat. It is manually adjustable, as you can see, and does not have lumbar support. But you do have all of those things with your power adjustable driver's seat. And we have the pass-through located here underneath the center console area. Nice to see some use of space in that respect. We'll also find a glove box. How about the sticker price? $43,595. Let's see what else you get for that price. On the driver's side door, we're going to find our controls here for the power adjustable side view mirrors, everything for your power windows and your power locks. And if you're wanting to turn the auto stop start feature off, there is where you do that. Here's your power parking brake and your drive mode selector. What exactly are those drive modes? Let's take a quick look at what they are. Now we're going to start here with normal. That's going to be your default mode. We're going to have sport, also have snow and ice, and your tow haul mode. Now there's a difference in the sizes here. We have an 11-inch driver's display and a 17.7-inch infotainment screen. It works very well. And I like the design here. It looks modern, it looks nice, but it's not an overload of details and information. Now if you look at that and say, you know what, I really don't like the way that looks. What are my options to change it? This button is how you do that. And here is what you can do. If you need to bring up navigation, you can do that. That's a very nice thing to have. We're also going to have additional bits of information and a different look. So depending on what your desire is, what your style is, whatever you want to call it, all of that is here. We have shifter paddles available to use on the steering wheel. You'll also find everything back here for the volume on your stereo, your radio, and you can adjust what you're listening to on the left-hand side. You have adaptive cruise control right here, and I think you pretty much know what everything else is here. You do have a heated steering wheel, by the way, something we really don't need too much right now in Northwest Louisiana, but some of you may still need that. Everything for your front and rear window wipers, and it's a multitasker because you can also let people around you know what you're doing with the turn signal indicators, and you can push that button right there to run the windshield washer fluid. In fact, I need to do that before we take our test drive later in the video, just so we can see how that works. I'll give you a demonstration and basically kill two birds with one stone, so to speak. This is your shifter. For those of you that do not want a push-button shifter in your vehicles, that's not going to be a problem here. Easy to deal with. And we'll have our sunglass holder right up here. Nice to have that. And you can see some of the other features you have with the upper console. And going back to our center screen, you're going to have everything for your radio right there for volume and turning that on and off. Now you will go right here to turn your headlights on and off. You can leave that on auto, or you can turn those on. It doesn't stay on very long. I do wish it stayed on longer. That's one of the things I wish Chevrolet would change here. But you can leave that on auto and you're good to go. There's a lot of different features here as far as this model goes. So we can have lane keeping assist on or off. As you can see, there's your lane keep assist. And a lot going on here, but it's not complicated as far as your center screen goes. You can see that you have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto right there. Those are great out because I don't have anything paired right now. Google Assistant is here, so you can say, hey, don't worry, I'm not going to set devices off in your house. Sometimes I just don't feel like doing that. Sometimes I do. I like to have fun with everybody, but I might make somebody mad if I do that. But a very simple system here to use. Your technology is not difficult. Depending on what you want to do, we can go in here to gauges if we want to, and you can see what's going on there. A little bit more information, oil temperature, coolant temperature. You can see your battery voltage and your oil pressure. And you can also see the transmission fluid temperature. So there's a lot going on here that you can bring up on the screen depending on what you want to see. I know some of you are going to say, and some of those things you're missing, aren't they? Well, it's not that they're missing. They're just maybe not in the best location, but that's the way it is right now. Now, if there was one thing I truly wish Chevrolet would change here, it's not bad, it works well, but I wish that the camera view on the screen was a little bit larger, and that would be very easy to fix by moving everything here that you use to change your view from over here on the left-hand side to down below. That's the way it is in a lot of other GM vehicles out there, but not in this case. Tell me what you think about that. Some of you may say, oh, that's no problem. I think that's more than big enough. You do have the overhead view, and there is our rear view camera. But overall, it does work really well. Now, you'll adjust your temperature down here. As you can see, here's where we turn our heated seats on and off for the driver and the passenger. You can sync those together depending on what you need to do. You can also bring climate up on the screen. So depending on what you might need to change as far as your settings go, there's a few different ways that can be done. And just a couple of things just to show you what all is here. Maps right there. You've got your phone and your controls. In case you were curious to see what the controls are, you can see what's going on there. Auto, high beams, camera, a few different things you can choose to turn on and off. Pretty easy to deal with. But I wanted to go back here and show you a few things under settings. There's a lot to see here, but I'm going to mainly focus on vehicle. So we're going to go back up here to vehicle because there are a couple of things I want to set or show you right here. You've got your audio settings. You've got teen driver mode, rear seat reminder. You can turn buckle to drive on and off. When I'm driving around here in the parking lot at these dealerships, I like to turn that off, but I do recommend using your seatbelt when you drive. That's always a good thing. Climate and air quality, but how about collision detection systems? There's a question a lot of people like to have answered. What are the safety features? So we're looking at forward collision avoidance, front pedestrian braking, intersection collision braking, adaptive cruise go notifier, side bicyclist alert, lane change alert, park assist with braking. You're going to have your park assist tow bar, rear cross traffic braking, and your rear pedestrian alert. So there's that question answered. Now, how about comfort and convenience? Something else that I know people like to know about. When I hopped in here earlier, the chime volume was way too loud. How did I fix that? There's what I did. You can see that you can decrease that or increase that depending on what you want to do. So a lot going on where that is concerned. That works really well. Now, if your power tailgate isn't opening or it's not opening where you want it to, you've got maximum. You can set it to custom or you can set it to off. So make sure that is set to maximum or custom at the least. And how about your hands-free exterior storage access? Open only to make that work is where you need to have that set. So if it's not working, that's where you need to come first. So you can see what's going on. A lot of great features. We're not going to cover everything there, but I wanted to hit some of the high points just to help you see what's here. Here's our dual zone climate control. We can also control this manually. I'm glad to see that it's here. It's not just on the screen, but you have that option if you want to use it. I prefer the physical controls. That's always nice. Fan speed controlled here and your temperature with the 2 zones of climate control. We also have some connectivity down here, including a 12-volt power outlet and more USB connectivity and a good old wireless charging pad. Always something nice. Eventually the day will come, I believe, when that kind of thing will be standard on all vehicles across all trim levels. It just hasn't happened just yet. There is your cup holders, wireless cup holders. Okay, joking. Totally joking on that. Don't want to hear any sarcastic comments about that unless you're laughing, which I don't blame you. I'm trying to get you to laugh. A little bit of storage right there and more storage within the center console. Now this tray is removable, so that's not all of the space that you have. But if you want to use that, it does give you additional storage capacity. And instead of having armrests built into the seats themselves, you're going to use the center console for the driver and passenger up here as the armrest. The only disadvantage to not having a sunroof for me is when I do a test drive like this is I can't mount the camera where I'd really like to. I hate having to put it in the windshield, but that's our only choice this time. One thing, unfortunately, there's no way for me to show you, but I'll tell you about it. Something that I know a lot of you have asked me about in past videos that you couldn't do with the Traverse prior to the redesign is that now you can leave the camera on the infotainment screen, and you can leave any of those cameras on any time. Now, I do recommend staying focused on looking through the windshield, but when you need to look down at times, that could be helpful. And I'll give you a good example of that. Let's say that you've been somewhere and you picked up a really large box or several boxes, something like that. Maybe you're moving and you have the rear cargo area full of totes, and you don't want to not be able to see with your rear view mirror. Well, you can bring the rear view camera up and leave it there, glance down at that every once in a while to see what's going on behind you. I know a lot of people maybe aren't used to using their rear view mirrors when they drive in a situation like that. So there's a potential advantage for you right there. And I'm sure there's a lot of other things that many of you could come up with where that's concerned. You have a good, comfortable ride quality with the Traverse. That's always nice. Good handling characteristics. The driver's seat is comfortable. Now, I do wish that I had a little bit more time to drive than I do, just a few minutes. So it's hard for me to tell you what the situation would be as far as a long-term drive, maybe being in the vehicle for a few hours as far as the driver's seat goes. But I feel confident that it would be good and comfortable. You can set everything depending on your height for everything you need, no matter how tall you are, or maybe you're not so tall. You can set the seat and the steering wheel to where you need it to be. That's always nice to have, and a lot of great ability to see really well out of all of the windows. They're very tall, very easy to see out of. That's always a big advantage and something that I know a lot of you like to know about. But keep in mind, beyond that, you also have your driving aids, you have your blind spot monitoring in your side view mirrors. And I know some people might say, well, what about the 2.5 liter 4-cylinder? Now, I'm just kind of cruising down the road here. I'm not really pushing very hard as far as getting up to speed. I had absolutely no trouble getting up to speed. The engine was not laboring, not a problem at all. The transmission seems to be very smooth in its operation. And I like that everything is so easy to get to. You can't go wrong where that is concerned. Very easy for the driver to get to anything they need to. And obviously with Google Assistant, you can set up your Google Maps, your navigation with voice commands. You just have to have your location turned on, all that good stuff there, and you're good to go. So a lot of really nice features here, great technology. As I mentioned earlier in the video, it is not difficult to learn, definitely not difficult to use. Well, let's go ahead and make our turn right here, and we'll get out here and get going. I'm gonna get up to speed again. Now let's see how we do. Push a little bit harder, not too hard, but it definitely gets down the road with no problems whatsoever. Try it out before you make any decisions on it. I know a lot of people are saying, gee, I wish Chevrolet had kept the 6-cylinder under the hood. I can't blame you for that. I'm with you on that. Maybe we'll see a return at some point down the road. I don't know. But one way or another, you still can get down the road just fine. For those of you who have had a Traverse for a reasonable amount of time with the 2.5 liter under the hood, tell us in the comments section about your experience so far. Okay, tell me what you think down in the comments section about the 2025 Chevrolet Traverse LT. Do the features match the price? I'm always curious to receive your feedback. I'd like to say a special thanks to my friends at Red River Chevrolet for loaning me this Traverse for the day so I could tell you all about it. And a special thanks to all of you for being kind enough to give me the opportunity to give you a vision for your next vehicle. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to hit the like button. That's very helpful to me. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any future videos. Make sure to share this video on your timelines if you would, so other people can see it. And if you would like to learn about additional vehicles you may wish to consider purchasing, check out the video that's on the screen right now, and I will see you there.